Government's Central Energy Fund is investing 1 billion rand in local energy producer Renegen's natural gas operations. This comes just weeks after they struck a massive deal with Canada's Ivanhoe mines. Renegen was in the news late last year after announcing the discovery of massive helium deposits in the Free State. Helium is a valuable and increasingly rare commodity. But what does this investment mean to us increasingly energy-starved South Africans? Renegen's CEO Stefano Marani returns to the show to tell us more. Stefano, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and well done to you and and your business, because these investments show confidence in the work that you're doing. But explain to South Africans how Renegen and Tetra 4 fit into the mold of South Africa's secure energy future.
So, listen, thank you for having me. First and foremost, we're not the silver bullet. The challenges that the country faces are going to be made up by a smorgasbord of various solutions. And we're hoping that as the country's first and only onshore petroleum production right, we're going to be paving the way for additional investment to the sector, which is massively needed. One doesn't need to think too far back that in 2008, it was the natural gas revolution in the United States that turned their economy around, and heaven knows South Africa could certainly do with that right now. But the important thing is that as long as South Africa maintains its status quo of importing the majority of its liquid fuels, because right now we've literally only got one refinery left, we are paying for a beneficiated product. And if we're paying for that beneficiated product, it means that we are paying off somebody else's debt and somebody else's equity returns. And those should belong to South African investors and to South Africa. So, energy security is critical. And this project is strategic in the sense that it paves the way for future investment.
What do the latest investments mean for job creation directly or indirectly along the supply chain or value chain?
So energy is very different from mining in the sense that mining obviously employs huge numbers of people to go underground or open cast mining or whatever the case may be, and then beneficiate the product for export. Energy is a much more sustainable and long-lasting investment. Whilst you don't employ as many people because the gas or the oil naturally comes to the surface, the big difference over here is that we see Renegen as being the catalyst in the Free State. Our vision is that by sheer presence of the operation in the Free State, with ample land around us, with ample skilled labor in the area, we have the vision that we can literally transform that area into a proper manufacturing hub where people have an abundance of clean, sustainable energy, with lots of land, strategically located to all of the ports in South Africa, and in many respects, an area that is probably strategically more beneficial to companies to establish manufacturing hubs than, say, Ekurhuleni. And so in that respect, we see this as being a major catalyst and driver for economic growth in the area by providing and bringing clean, sustainable energy online in the area.
You mentioned clean energy, but natural gas, like any other energy source, does have an impact on the environment. What is the impact of natural gas, good or bad?
Yeah, so let's be fair and compare apples with apples. Every technology, including solar and wind, has an impact on the environment. You can't escape that fact. It's all just a function of how you choose to do the analysis. The important one is cradle to grave. So in other words, what it takes in terms of extraction of the minerals to produce the technology, right the way through to what energy is created out of the back of it. Now, natural gas, whilst it is still a fossil fuel, yes, you are putting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. You're putting significantly less carbon dioxide, but more importantly, you're not releasing things like sulfur. You're not releasing things like NOx. You're not releasing sulfur dioxide or any of the sulfur-based molecules. You're not releasing diesel particulate emissions. These are all carcinogenic, and it's these pollutants that go into the atmosphere that are significantly worse than just pure CO2, and that's why they use the term greenhouse gas emissions as opposed to just CO2. Everything is measured off an index of CO2, and in that regards, LNG actually scores very, very well because there are no carcinogens that are released into the atmosphere, as opposed to, coal, diesel, oil, polyfuel, LPG, all of these other heavier fuels.
How much is the relevance of natural gas expanding in the fuel market?
So globally, there is a massive transition towards LNG. And if anyone thinks that you can have a hydrogen economy without the LNG infrastructure backbone supporting it, that's impossible. So what we've noticed globally is a trend that in order for any country to be able to create a sustainable economy that's based on hydrogen, which is obviously the future that everyone is working towards, you have to have the infrastructure paid off beforehand. Otherwise, hydrogen is just too expensive. And the only way that you can do that is by laying the infrastructure using LNG. And so LNG is genuinely a transition fuel, not only because it's the lowest form of greenhouse gas emission type of fuel that you get before reaching the renewables. It also paves the way and creates the infrastructure that's required to roll out hydrogen. So globally, we're seeing an enormous increase, whether it be in the use of trucks as an alternative to diesel, whether it be used for power generation, whether it be used for thermal processes, going off coal and LPG and polyfuel and diesel and all of these other things. LNG is in massive demand, and that's also why we've seen such horrendous price spikes even before the conflict in Russia.
All right, Stefano, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Renergen's CEO, Stefano Marani.